Welcome to Mary Walter Radio. It's been so long. We haven't done one of these in 2 weeks. Yeah, it's been 2 weeks because I've been gone. So it's so great to be back. As some of you know, I was just on WPHT until 7 o'clock, ran downstairs, let my hair out of the ponytail, out of the bun, and hoped for the best. So it's a little flat over here, but it could be worse, right? It could be worse. Um, our next guest doesn't have to worry about that. But so, as you know, if you were listening, if you heard me on PHT, I've been in for Rich Zioli from 3 to 7 Eastern Time on 1210 PHT out of Philadelphia, also on the Odyssey app. And yesterday, I had a gentleman named Tony Kinnett on the show with me to talk about the Israel trip. And on Friday, I'll be in for Brian Kilmeade, and I have Cheryl Chumley, and she's been on this podcast, and she was on the trip as well, so she's going to be on to talk about the trip. But I asked this guy to join me on the podcast because it's long form, and he doesn't shut up. So I thought that was a great reason to have him join me. Joining me now, one of my favorite people. We bonded, at least I did, on the trip to Israel because this man, Charles Love, and I wound up in the same group. So we were kind of thrown together with Cheryl Chumley and Tony Kinnett and Stacy Washington and a bunch of other people that I'm forgetting their names right now. Tim
Jones.
Tim Jones. Thank you. I was going to say Tim Love.
All the Johns. John Gizzy, John Tobacco.
That's right. No, Tobacco wasn't on our bus.
No, John Levine. Burnett, no. John Levine was on.
Was John Levine on our bus? Yes, John Levine was on our bus. John Gizzy was on our bus. John Burnett was on our bus. We had like 4 Johns on our bus. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was crazy. So let me tell you a little bit about
the 4 non-Johns. These are the 4 non-Johns.
The 4 non, that's right. So this guy right here, as you can tell, he is a speaker. You can see him on Newsmax. He was just on this past weekend. You can catch him on Newsmax. He is the co-host of Cut the Bull podcast. And he also is a prolific writer, with his latest book being Race Crazy, but he also wrote author of Logic, We Want Equality, and Race Crazy. You can find him on X at C Douglas Love and then the number 3, which was why it was impossible to find him when I was looking for him. Like, really, dude? So anyway, but thank you so much for joining me. I know that I've cut into your dinner time. And one thing I learned about Charles is that if he stops eating, he dies. He's like a shark. And he's like this big. He's like this big. I have never seen a man. We were at one place for dinner and we were so tired. They had run us ragged. We were on the buses at like 8 o'clock in the morning and they were feeding us at 9 o'clock at night. People were literally falling asleep. We had been to the presidential palace. We sat with Herzog, with the president and his wife, which was wonderful and amazing. But we watched, was it Alan Dershowitz who fell asleep? You weren't sitting
Malcolm.
Next to me.
Was it Alan or Malcolm?
Maybe it was Malcolm who fell asleep, Malcolm Hoenlein, but one of them fell asleep. And I was sitting next to, not Dante.
Such a name dropper.
Well, nobody knows who Dante is. So nobody knows what I'm talking about. And so the two of us, and I'm like, look, and you can see over, and they're like, because they ran us. So we get to this restaurant and it was family style. So of course, Cheryl, Charles, and I all sit together. We had like our little clique and we sat together, but I should know better. And Charles always had to sit to my left because he's a lefty. And so Charles is the difficult one at the table. So Charles always had to sit to my left. So I'd sit to the right. And then Cheryl was over at the head of the table. And they brought out steak, which don't eat steak in Israel. And they brought out chicken, which was really, really good. And they had they always have sweet potatoes. And they also had like pumpkin ravioli, which was a weird thing to put on the table. But after we've all pretty much eaten, and we just want to go home and go to bed. Each table got this huge like lamb shoulder that was like the size of something you get at medieval times restaurant. So everyone's just sitting there looking at this and going, oh, I can't eat anymore. Except for Charles, who gets up and he shimmies between me and this like serving table that was behind us. And he goes down the table and he takes the entire serving tray off the table with the lamb shoulder on it, goes, "Excuse me," and walks over with this thing to another table and just starts carving it up and putting it on his plate. And then he went back for seconds. It was quite impressive.
Permission to speak?
Denied.
So I will just say, after that long setup, and you've had Tony on, I think you do me a disservice. You say I'm talkative. What am I going to talk about? You are, so you gave me the difficult job of trying to, bring some kind of context or information about this trip when you've already talked about it already. I got nothing to say.
Hold on. First of all, that was 20 minutes on PHT. So the people who didn't hear it there have heard nothing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I'm having you on now because I know you can yak for an hour.
Well, maybe.
And that's a good thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. And you're hilarious. You had me laughing the entire time. He almost left me on a street in Israel, by the way, because I was talking to people. And so he almost left me on a street in Israel, him and John Burnett, but they decided against it and then came back and got me.
I was just surprised you were talking. This was another side of you. You were so polite and kind and chatty, greeting people on the street and hugging. Oh, my life.
I knew that. We knew that. They weren't strangers. We knew them. There was a security detail.
And daytime Mary was different.
Go ahead.
Just different. I don't know. It's different.
Just say it. Just
another side. I think their nickname was Mom.
No, you're the only person who called me that, number one.
I did not. Totally untrue.
Then who was calling me Mom? Who was calling me Mom?
That's the word on the streets. The streets talk, Mary. The streets talk, and they call you Mom. But
so here's the thing. We had two buses. They separated us into two buses, which they didn't have to do because we had tons of, it was like 20 people on each bus. It was ridiculous. It was a full-size bus. And people couldn't pay attention. People are missing the bus. Can you come back and get me? Like, how are you missing the bus? You know what? Don't you remember the text? And they're like, take a cab. We left, right?
Can you come back and get me?
Am I lying? Am I lying?
But they were hard days, Mary. Like you said, it was up at the crack of dawn, bed at 11, no break. We got stuff. We got people to see and things to do. Nobody's got time for this break stuff. So, so some people, they drug a bit. It happens. They couldn't keep up.
Yeah. So it was like trying to herd cats. And we had our poor organizers. We're at the border with Gaza. And there are people who are like, can I go sit on the bus? I'm like, could you not be rude? The woman who was banged in the back of the head with a gun by a Hamas rebel who left her for dead is telling her story. Could you maybe, I don't know, sit through it for just like another 5 minutes? Would it kill you? So.
Different Mary. That's all I'm saying.
He kept saying that I was different during the day than I was at night.
Sit down. Shut up. Put that over there. Why are you doing that?
I didn't say any of those things. I did tell people to hush because people were rude.
Oh.
I looked at somebody and went, because there's people who are talking and they're, I'm like, try to be rude. Try not to be rude. I mean, it's not that hard.
Anyway, but nonetheless, the trip was still great.
The trip was phenomenal. All right, let's see how we do this. All right, so I want you to see how we do this. Are you ready? We have 54 people who have already commented. So let's see who's here watching your back. Rebecca.
We haven't even said anything. What are they saying? Let me put some glasses on.
Hold on, I haven't put it up on the screen. They're just saying hello. Suze was listening on PHT. She's great. Oreo made it. Oreo's in the house. Manglemush is here. He was over on PHT. And they're just saying hello to each other. Gregory, I wonder what the radio sounds like in Israel. It sounds like the radio here, right?
You mean left, right? You mean, do they speak Hebrew? What do you mean? What it sounds like?
I don't know. So Yitzhak says, welcome home. Who did you see? Where did you go? Who talked with you? Did you see October 7th devastation? What's an Islamist versus a Muslim? He always likes to ask that last question because he says all Muslims are Islamists. So we don't have to answer the last one. So who did you see, Charles?
I saw, well, really,
besides me.
Once I met Mary, I didn't really talk to anyone else or see anyone else. So I don't have much memory after that. So, we had interesting people, very interesting people in the group with us that we spoke with. Some of them Mary mentioned already. We had some members of the what was the Orthodox organization? It's from the U.S. What was the name of them?
Oh, the Orthodox Better Business Bureau of Ocean County.
Yeah, we met some. We met who else? Who else did we meet? I would assume they mean there.
We had the ambassador. We had the ambassador Dan with us. Remember?
Yeah, we had people with us every day. That was cool, kind of guiding us around,
yelling at us because nobody paid attention.
We met the president and his lovely wife. We met some. We went down to the kibbutz and met some people who lived in, which we'll get to, I'm sure, to a community right on the Gazan border, which were some of the first places attacked on October 7th, and they told their story. We went to the other end of the country and went to the Golan Heights and met the people there who tragically lost their family members, many of them kids, a couple siblings, at a soccer game that was bombed by accident. And they told their story. We saw a short film about them. We met Minister of Foreign Affairs. Who else did we meet? We met lots of people.
Yeah, we were at the Knesset, and that's where we met the speaker of the Knesset. We met the Minister of Foreign Affairs at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Right. Can we translate this somehow to American politics so they get it? So we met Mike Johnson, Donald Trump, right?
Yeah.
And we met the foreign minister. What would you say?
Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
Yes, that's Secretary of State. Let's go there. So that's who we met.
Yeah. So that's what we met. And the First Lady. We met Melania too, who was very lovely. She's a very nice woman. It was very nice. Mm-hmm. And that was like all in one day. Well, it wasn't all. Netanyahu.
Yeah, Netanyahu. But Netanyahu was kind of a drive-by. We were close enough, but we didn't get to have we had conversations like that. We had 40-minute conversations with these other people.
Yeah, and they were taking questions and everything. And Ambassador Huckabee.
Yeah. The actual one. We're not translating that to the American version. The actual Ambassador Huckabee was there.
Right.
Really quickly, have to say that to our people who were with us, guiding us through, the people who invited us, all that. There were some times, but Mary can attest to this. Most of the conversations were not off the record, so we could ask what we want. We could tell you what they said. It's not like they were being secretive or anything like that. So I think that's a mistake as well.
Yeah. No. So it was really fantastic. So that's who we met. Now, where did we go? Mm-hmm. Where didn't we go?
Where didn't we go? I mean, it's so funny for such a small country. If anybody, especially if you're religious, or if you're a historian, there's so many places you figure you have to go. We didn't even get to go to all those places. Right. Yeah. But to be fair, that's because we went to the president's residence. Right. We went to the Knesset. But beyond that, we did a some of us, not Mary, we did a flyover of a good portion of the country, in a helicopter, so we got to, like I mentioned, the Golan Heights. Where else we go? We went to the Gazan border. We went to the Syrian border. I was not expecting that to look like the North Korean, South Korean border with the DMZ in the middle, right? So that's kind of what that was like. We went there. We went to some museums. When we went to the old city, which many tourists would do, we got kind of a sneak peek. We were able to see, I guess you would call it will be an exhibit at some point, but it is not open. So we were some of the first to see that, which was really, this will, just kind of blow you away. Again, historian or religious, whichever one, obviously more so on the one side. But we got to see, if you read the Bible and they talk about when they go and everybody, whether it be a census for a king or whether it be, to burn sacrifices, and the holy place, they would all come and they would walk down the street in order to get to the temple. They found the street and we were able to walk the street.
Yes, because they found the pool of Siloam, which they had been looking for, and that's where the travelers would rest and wash their feet and stuff, because it's a pretty dusty place, and they would have maybe a market in there. And I actually went back to that after you guys had left, and I went back to that. No, I
No,
went back and said, well, because the day that we saw it, you couldn't see 2 feet in front of your face. You couldn't see the Mount of Olives or anything because it was like a rare fog.
yeah.
We
We
never
were
get
in
fog.
LA. I thought we were in LA at that time.
Yeah.
It was
And they're like, we never get fog. I was like, yeah. So we
Mhm.
couldn't see anything. So I did go back. That was one of the things that my husband and I did afterwards. And I knew like where the pool, and you can walk up that a little bit.
Right.
But then it's got a sign that says no entry. And of course, everybody's just walking up it. Like nobody pays attention to anything. Like everybody just rules and things like that are just like suggestions there.
Right.
So everybody was doing whatever they wanted. But it's so cool because you knew that because the Mount of Olives is right across the street, they found King David's temple, which was not inside the walls, which is what they had originally thought throughout time that it was out. And it was only recently that they found it. When I say recently, what, like in the early 2000s was when they found it, right?
Right.
So they found it outside the walls of the old city. So this is like a big deal. And getting to walk down this, and you should see they're excavating this thing by hand. I mean, this is
putting the stuff
crazy.
in bags, walking them out, dumping them through a sieve, looking at the stuff, taking stuff out, going back, another bag, doing it again.
Right.
And they were doing it while we were there. I'm sure your pictures are the same. We have pictures of, you're looking at this history and the tour guide's telling you where you're standing and all this stuff. And there's a guy in a hat just in the background.
Yeah. And you just see bags and bags and bags of stuff. And there's a poor guy, like there's a guy who just like sifts it, and they find like a coin, or they find a this, or they find a that, and they save it, and they have to. This is how it goes. And people live above this. So they just jack it up. And so in Israel, because they're constantly finding historic sites all over the place. So you don't own anything below like your floor. In Israel, like you own the house, but you don't own like the land that's under it, because if they have to excavate, they prop up your house, they make sure that it's secure, but they just dig right under, and that's that. So that was really cool. So we did that.
And the guy talked about how they are really like they have a plan. They think about this, so they when they find something, they have to dig enough to see what it is. Then they have to make a decision. How far do we want to go? One, do we want to go as far as we complete the picture of whatever it is we found in time, but also we don't want to go too far because we don't want to, because there's so much history there. They want to leave stuff for future generations, so they know that there's other stuff to find. It's like, let's leave that there, and in 50 years, when someone wants to dig further, they can dig. But one other place we went, I forgot about this, is like you say, whirlwind. Go, you start at the end because you remember that, but you go back to the first day. So we went to the Western Wall, and then there's a yeshiva next to it. So we went to the yeshiva, and that was an interesting sight, because you go in and you go to that top floor, 6th floor, and they have a rooftop. So you're on the rooftop overlooking the wall. You're watching all the tourists come in, and you're watching everything there. You can see the Mount of Olives across. You can see the mosque,
Al-Aqsa Mosque, Al-Aqsa Mosque,
right over to your left. And so you're up there, and you kind of can oversee the city. You can see the old city to your right. You can see all this from where you are. So we went there. That was really nice because of the view, and it was just a lot to take in. I don't know, where else did we go? Who else did we see?
Well, we also, and while we were there, you could not only see the Al-Aqsa Mosque, but you could see the Western Wall, and you could also see the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. So I had all three in a picture, because you had Christian, Jewish, and Muslim all in one picture, which is really cool.
Yeah, I have a video. So from that point, that's one of my favorite things on the trip. So at that point, we're on the rooftop, and there's a rabbi there who's going to give the speech. He's going to give us kind of quick, like a down and dirty 5-minute verse summary of history to give you a snapshot of where you're standing. I said, this should be pretty cool. I should record this. And this is to all the people like Israel. It's this apartheid state where only Jews are allowed. All that stuff. So now you got this rabbi, full on, religious Jew, yarmulke on his head, telling a story, talking about biblical figures. You're standing where Jeremiah spoke, this, that, or the other. Over there across, you can see where Jesus preached this, and all of a sudden, the Muslims start to speak, because it's time to pray. I mean, to pray. So you can hear them on the recording. He's standing there, this Jewish guy on the camera, pointing at and talking about Jesus, while the Muslims are praying, all in one 2-minute clip. So that was pretty cool. Yep.
It is pretty cool, and that is loud. That call to prayer is super loud, and it goes on for like 5 minutes, and it just sounds like cats fighting in a bag. It does. I'm sorry. Am I what? Am I wrong?
Well, if it were, to be fair, if it were in English, it would sound like, I love you, Lord. I hope that you give me a bucket of chips. I mean, it would be words. You don't because you're not translating it. What I mean, if you walk past somebody and they're speaking a language you don't know, what does it sound like? It sounds like gibberish, I guess, right?
But it's a very harsh language.
And in that case, you don't have like 500 people chanting it at one time.
We didn't hear all that. It was just coming over the loudspeakers.
Well, yeah, but
yeah. It weren't like 500 people chanting it. It was just coming over the loudspeakers.
But it's amplified, so it's not like one person walking by saying, "How much is this in a foreign tongue?" But
So what was really cool also is that everybody thinks it's unsafe to go. And there were people who did not come on this trip that I knew who were supposed to go on this trip and did not come because they were worried that it wasn't safe. And my theory all along, and I told everybody, I think I told you guys before I left, my theory was that, first of all, I'm not good enough for like God to make me a martyr, that I'm going to die while on a pilgrim, like in the Holy Land. This is just not happening. And if it did, like, I stand a better chance of going to heaven if I die in Jerusalem where Jesus died than if I die in New Jersey. So that was my thinking on this one. I was like,
yes, I lived a horrible life. God, I'm being honest. Yes, I'm a horrible person. They call me mom. It's terrible. I know I'm a me, but I did walk on the same streets that, Jesus walked. So I think I've earned some bit of cachet. Is that what you were thinking?
There you go. Especially if I can die where Jesus died or in the general vicinity, like not necessarily on, in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre where that is now. I figure I'm in the vicinity. It's like on the Mount of Olives, the Jews bury everybody there because they think that the higher up you are on the mountain, the closer you are to going to heaven when their Savior comes and they all get risen from the dead. Like the ones who are closer to the top go first. So there's a pecking order, which I didn't know.
So it's like first in, first out, as opposed to last in, last out. No, they're last in, last out. Like the gravel. Right, they're first in, when it's winter time, they're last in. The stuff that's on top, because nobody goes to the bottom to get the salt. You just scoop whatever's on top. Gotcha.
Right. See, so if you had been paying attention and not talking during that part of our tour, you would have known that. And so,
yes, sorry, Mom.
I just love people aren't paying attention. They ask questions and I'm like, but when I was there, when I went back and I was there with my husband, and I'm going to share these pictures next week. I just have not had any time to get them together, but I'm going to share them. One of my favorite pictures is there. And you have like houses that are just like right there, like next to the cemetery on the Mount of Olives. And they're just like hanging there and they're built over like an old crypt and that kind of thing. There is one of my husband spotted it. That's true. And my husband spotted this one line that you could see in the dirt coming down the mountain. And in like not quite the valley there, but partway down the mountain, most of the way down the mountain is a coffin with no lid on it. This poor sucker slid from wherever he was, slid down the mountain. So that would be me. Like my relatives would pay to have me buried higher up on the mountain. And then something happens because the coffins aren't buried. They're just out in the open. They're just out. And it just slid down the mountain, and somewhere along the line, the lid came off of it and you could see it. And I'm like, oh, that poor guy, poor man. So we did that. We saw all of the, everything, not everything in the old city. We kind of flew through it, but I will tell you, now's the best time to go. It was totally safe. Did you feel unsafe at any time? Well, you were there only when we had security.
But other than that, I mean, you made me feel
I didn't make you feel safe?
But no, I didn't feel unsafe. I mean, it's kind of like it depends on whether people travel in general internationally or not. Because, I always find that interesting because, that's why I tell people when they ask me about the trip that it was kind of a multi-layered trip because, there's the interest in the conflict itself, there's the history, there's the religious aspect, and then there's just seeing different cultures and the way people do things. It's this weird justification of how in the United States we're looked at as this gun culture and we're violence and there's guns on the streets and all that kind of stuff. But you don't go to, well, now Trump is taking over there. Well, normally you don't go to cities and just see police with, military fatigues or with rifles walking down the street, whatever. But there, and I went, because the trip had gotten rescheduled, it was after my trip to Jamaica. So I was going to Israel from Jamaica. So 2 international trips back to back. And in both places, there were people walking around the streets in fatigues with rifles on their back. So as an American would go there and be like, that's so odd. I feel, is it really bad here? Why are the military walking around? I mean, but they think it's an Israeli thing. But like I said, it happened in Jamaica. But it was like that when I went to Paris, right? They walk the streets in Paris. They're in every airport internationally, except for the U.S. So how about that? All you people talking about America and their guns, you people just let your police run all over the place with guns all over the streets. I have a picture of a couple of them shopping. That was interesting because it's so normal for them. So it's like 2 Israeli women officers, full fatigue, rifle on the back, zero bag on the arm. Just, lunchtime, picking up a blouse. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that was good. We'll talk a little bit about the October 7th, what we learned about that coming up in just a hot second. But I just want to get to some of these. Sue says I look marvelous. Thank you so much. It's like used to have a
she's talking about you.
Oh, well, maybe she is talking about you. Sue, would you like to clarify?
Thank you, Sue. Mary's not that bad though. She's looking pretty good.
It is all about you. Baltimore says, Baltimore Tool, good evening. Greetings from the Shenandoah Valley. I followed over from the Rich Zioli show. Thank you so much. Oh.
I mean, really. So you let her talk for 20 minutes on the intro. She was like, and then Charles, Charles ate all the time. And then Charles took the lamb. And then Charles, what do you think? I thought it was nice. Shut up, Charles, but fine.
For those of you listening and not watching, Charles, why you don't shut up? You don't shut up. Are you Israeli? Ha ha ha. Sue says hello.
I would be arguing if that was the case. We do like to. I mean, the Jews like to have a spirited debate.
That's true. They like to yell. Yitzhak says, how many people went? How many people were on the whole thing? Like 35? 40, yeah, maybe?
We were never all together. We were not never, but rarely in one room together. No, so it's probably about 30 or 40, somewhere around 40.
Yeah, we were all together. We just went in separate buses at the presidential palace. The party that Netanyahu was at when we went to the museums,
dinners.
Yeah, the dinners, we were all together. And the museums, when we went to the museums, we just went on the tours separately.
But the museums were different because the museums were kind of layered each other because one group would get there first. And then you're right. So we would be, but when we went at some point together.
The night that was like the Bataan Death March, and when we didn't need till like 9 o'clock at night, we were in that one museum. I mean, they fit that extra musium in there, that museum, the October 7th museum that's opening up. We were all in there at the same time. Yeah, we were in there all at the same time, I think.
Who's sponsored? What do you say about that? That's a complicated one, right? What do you say about who's sponsored?
Well, okay, so Chris Ruddy with Newsmax throws a 4th of July party in Israel. This is the 4th year that he's done it. And of course, it got moved to August this year. Mm-hmm. And I can't speak for Charles. This is the first time I was invited. So it was Ruddy, from what I understand, Newsmax and Ruddy decided who was coming. And it was pretty much primarily all people who appear on Newsmax. Right?
Probably. I mean, there were probably some others that had different connections too, but for the most part, it was, some of them were like contributors of people who work at Newsmax. Others were just other people, tangentially connected, but that's who invited us over. But I'm not sure that's necessarily who sponsored the trip.
No, it was sponsored. It was an official Israeli diplomatic mission. And so the Ministry of Foreign Affairs sponsored the trip. Sometimes they're humanitarian missions. This was a diplomatic mission. And from what I understand, the Israeli Foreign Ministry sponsored the trip. They paid for the hotel rooms. They paid for for the food, the buses, all that stuff was all by the Israeli foreign ministries. As
you know that because mission. You asked, because I didn't really care. How do you know
that? Well, because I don't think Newsmax paid for it. Because remember, Newsmax gave us money to put.
I thought it might have been different groups, but it could have been all just them. I knew they were part of it. I don't know if they paid for all of it, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I think so. Don't take it as gospel. That's what I think it happened.
In conjunction with whoever is right.
What history were you taught? That's like a really, really, really big question. How many buses? BUSES, not double S. There, Chick Gregory. 2, just 2 buses. Yeah, there were just 2 buses. Oreo says hello.
There's mom correcting grammar.
I had to do it. I did it just for you. You know that. Dolly Madison is here. Yay. Over from PHT. Yay. Let's see. Here's a totally random question from Yitzhak. Charles, the wine in the background, did you stock up pre-tariff?
If I'm smart, right? Well, it depends on how quickly I go through it and how many parties. So it started before then, but sometimes you run out and you have to get more. So I have some pre and post tariff wine back there, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yitzhak, Dersh was with you, Malcolm too. Yes, they were both with us. And I adore Malcolm Honline. Honline, is that how you say his last name? I love him.
He was very good when he spoke to him.
I wanted to take him home with me. I just adored him. He was fantastic and so nice and so easy to talk to. Like you could go out. He traveled more with us than Dershowitz did. He was with us more often. He was like at all the dinners. He was at a lot more stuff. And, just go up and talk to him. And I said, hey, I got this text from a friend to look what they're saying. How do I respond? He was great. Gave me his card. It was wonderful. Yeah, everybody was awesome. Really, really great.
Alan is funny often. And I just made fun of because, he was on my podcast the week before I left, but I wasn't there. So I'm like, now you have to come back because I didn't get to talk to you. But he was funny. He likes to tell dirty jokes, but he's funny.
Oh, I didn't know. Well, I'm glad I don't know that. That would be creepy. Yitzhak says they make chicken good, meat not so good. That is very, very true. Yes, the lamb thingy stuffed. Was it stuffed?
It was not stuffed, but it was fantastic.
Yeah, I was so full. I was just so full. And I think I was so full just because the food there, we had this big breakfast brunch that the hotel does, and it's really good. And I had heard all about it and I did video it. And I would just watch Charles. Sometimes I didn't make it to the brunch very often. Oh.
Married. Just watch Charles. Why?
Because you were sitting opposite the room from me one time when I did go in for brunch, and you were opposite the room, and I'm sitting all by myself, and you were over there and didn't come over and sit with me. And I'm like, fine. And that's because so I just watched how many times you went up to the buffet and took different stuff, and you just went back and forth.
Oh, fine. Okay. So now I'm going to get you. Tell the people about the first night, the dinner at the first night. You remember the stuff on the table?
Where was the dinner?
Thought it was dinner. Remember the stuff on the table? You ate all the stuff at the table.
Okay. So that was when we were at the center at the Western Wall in the middle of the complex. So we all sit down. It was you, me, Cheryl was Cheryl at our table. Stacey Washington was at our table. Harvey
was there. Yeah.
Harvey was there. Daniel from the UN was there.
Daniel was there.
Okay. So, and I'll get all these names, sorry. And so we're all there. And so this is our first night. We're like, oh, hi, how are you? And they're trying to get people to shut up and sit down, which of course doesn't happen. And so they bring out this food. So we start to eat. And we're eating and we're like, oh, this is so good. And they had pita and they had a hummus and olives and like vegetables. And what else did they? Right, it was really good. So we eat and we're like, oh, that was such a good meal. And then they brought out dinner.
And what did I say? You remember what I said? They were like, I thought this was somebody. No, what they didn't bring out dinner. Someone said, and I will stop speaking now and we'll come back after the main course is served. And Mary and the people at the table, like, they're joking, right? And they're looking like this. There's more food. And I started laughing. And I'm like, you people clearly have not been to Shabbat dinner. And what did I say? If you haven't had beef or schnitzel, they haven't served dinner yet.
They serve schnitzel? We didn't get that at all.
Oh, we had it at 2 meals. But yeah, but that's because we went to nicer restaurants and we went to one Brazilian restaurant. Remember?
That was weird.
But generally, yeah. I mean, come on. You got some people who are Jewish or Jew adjacent here. They'll tell you they're a fan of the schnitzel. You go to casual Jewish restaurants, they have schnitzel.
Are you not talking about kugel?
I'm talking about chicken. I'm talking about breaded, thin chicken, like chicken parmesan with nothing on top.
Yeah. Well, that is one thing I will say is the food was a little not seasoned a whole lot. It was a little bland. Would you agree?
No, I wouldn't agree. It depends on what it was, right? What do you mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought there was some.
I mean, every place, like the chicken at the museum was phenomenal. The lamb at the dinner that I ate all by myself because you losers were full was great. the pasta the last day was good. With the mushrooms and stuff, that was good food. I mean, they're giving you like a whole spread of things. There will be some things you don't 100%.
No, I'm not saying I didn't like anything, honestly. I tried to try stuff. Like, I was eating stuff, especially at brunch, that I was
Yes.
like, "I have no idea what this is, but I'm gonna try it." Like, and it was
Mhm.
one of it was pickled eggplant with something on top of it. They eat a lot of pickled vegetables,
Mhm.
and it was actually real I was like, "Well, it's not bad." But I'm not used to eating this for breakfast. I don't know if my stomach is ready
Oh,
for
they
this for
had
breakfast.
dessert. You could get
Yeah,
everything was on the breakfast. You get
cheesecake,
cheesecake, cheesecake,
Basque cheesecake, and, like,
fresh
different kinds of
juices.
yogurt.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
juices
Mhm.
were amazing, were they
That's
not?
why we went, people. We actually went for the juices. Yes.
Seriously, in all seriousness, like, the orange juice and the apple juice and everything was so good. Everybody was like, "Have you tasted the juice? It tastes really good.
You
The
have to
juice
get
is
the orange juice.
fantastic.
Yes,
You
it was a
have to
big
have the
deal.
orange
Mhm.
juice." Everybody was raving about the juice, which
It
was
was,
absolutely
and it was good.
fantastic,
Mhm.
fantastic.
Mhm.
Coffee, though, they make instant. They love their instant coffee. They're big
Mhm.
fans of the instant coffee, and it takes a little getting used to the like, going like this and getting grounds. Like, that was a little tough
Mhm.
getting used to that, but overall, the food was the Mediterranean diet, the way to go.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
would eat breakfast and then we'd go to lunch and really eat a lot at lunch. And then, because I was full, I never felt hungry when I was there, which
I
which
didn't
is
either, but that's
different.
because I ate nonstop.
This is very true.
Because I
I
literally
didn't
wasn't hungry. That's why I didn't feel hungry. We
Yeah,
didn't
so
really
that's
fully
true.
answer the question though, because doing radio and stuff, to remember everything, to go back to it. I think the question we started answering was, it was like, what history did you learn in October 7th stuff, right? So for me,
Right.
I don't know about others and not about you, but we tend to be, and our audiences tend to be kind of well read. So it's not like we went in not knowing anything, but there's finer points that I think, kind of filled in some things. Like for me, I kind of knew that, you got the word independence. They tried to split. Palestinians said, no, this is war. There's been this back and forth. The partition, I always looked at Gaza, West Bank, and Israel as three totally separate entities because they all had their own dynamics. But I did not remember that in 2005, there were 19 Jewish settlements in Gaza. So communities in Gaza, just Jews just living their lives, farming, doing whatever they do.
Right.
But the Israeli government was responsible for protecting them. There's these terrorist attacks, there's all this stuff going on, so they protect them. And the government just made a decision. It's too much effort and money to
Yep.
protect you, and force them to leave. So it's interesting because if the Palestinians have to leave, it's apartheid state, is displacements, is all of these things. But they, in 2005, forced the Jews in Gaza to leave their homes and go to Israel. I guess they can go somewhere else if they want to, but they had to leave and leave, for the most part, everything behind. I mean, you can pack up, but you can't take your house with you. And then that was the interesting part. But then the final point to it, it's like, well, obviously the Palestinians took over that property. What happened to it? Did they continue the farm? Did they maintain it? Do whatever? No, they took it all down as scrap metal and used it to create bombs. And of course, assisted in the tunnels that they built underneath. So that was something that we learned. What else you got? You got anything, Mary? I had others, but
Yeah. There's a lot. First of all, Shanna Bananas here. Greetings from colorful Colorado over on Rumble. Thank you so much. So, one of the things that I learned, I wanted to talk about the kibbutzes before we run out of time here, because I
okay.
try to keep it to an hour, and I know you complained about cutting into your dinner time. And I told you I try to keep it to an hour. One of the things going to the kibbutz was, especially the kibbutz Nur Oz, which was the first one we went to, and they were really overrun, and they were one at like kind of ground zero for the attack on October 7th.
Mhm.
But as we got to learn more about it, and we had this discussion on the bus afterwards, and I don't know if they had this discussion on the other bus. We were like, okay, so you live like there's the border with Gaza, like right there, like right there, and it's a
Mhm.
fence. It's a stinking wire fence.
Mhm.
That's it. And we learned that they had a lot of people from Gaza. They had Gazans, Palestinians. They invited them to come to their kibbutz every day and work because they could make more money, something like 3 times the money working for them than they could working in Gaza. And so they wanted to help them. And this is the kind of people that they are, and this is what they wanted to do. And so they had them come over, and on October 7th, we find out, well, the Palestinians came over and they knew exactly where the head of security for that kibbutz lived, and went right there and took him out. I'm like, okay. And they said, well, and somebody asked the question about, well, what about the Gaza, the Palestinians? There's any kind of, were you suspicious? And I don't know if you remember what he said. He goes, oh no, because they came to work that day and they were in the fields. We're like, and were they killed? No, they killed the Jews. They didn't kill the Palestinians in the fields. I don't know. It sounds to me like maybe that was a little bit of a security lapse, but they wanted to help the Palestinians on the other side because they saw how they were living. And so they wanted to help them out. So they invited them into their community and possibly, their own demise. And the other thing that I found interesting, and I think Stacy asked this question and was brought up later on the bus, was, well, are you armed? Right. You just did it. Are you armed? And here's this group of Americans, conservative American journalists, who are like, and they're like, well, no. Like, what do you mean? Well, no.
Be fair. The actual quote is even better. What did he say?
Right. Go ahead with the argument. Well, they had a security detail.
Yeah, they have an emergency response team. What he said was, why weren't you armed? Why weren't you defending yourself? You knew that there's a threat next to you. That's the IDF's job to protect us.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's the IDF's responsibility to protect us. And I really wanted to go, we have a saying in the US, and it goes something like this: when seconds count, the police are only minutes away. Like, so what they did, their response, and in their brains is totally logical because they've lived on these kibbutzes forever and ever and ever. And you got to understand it. It's a socialist system. These are socialists. And they said, well, and they were telling us a horrible tale, what the people who were slaughtered in their communities, it's just devastating. You could see how it happened because the fence is right there. And they some of them don't have second floors on their homes. But what they do is they like roll down the shutters. Like, did you ever see March of the Wooden Soldiers with Laurel and Hardy? And the three little pigs go into their hut to get away from the big bad wolf, and they just roll down the shades. Right. And that's exactly pretty much what they did. They locked their doors, they rolled down their shades, and they went to their safe rooms. And shockingly, that didn't work. And the mayor's like, if you know that this exists, why wasn't there like a gun out of every window just picking them off as they came across the border? Like, right. Why was that? And that's a thought that they just don't have in their brain. We have our emergency response team. And it consists of 12 people, something like that. Mm-hmm. And they got a lot of them, like they protected a lot of the homes, which is wonderful. But everybody else, just their only option was to cower in their homes and hope that the shutters held or that they didn't get into the homes. And unfortunately, they got into a lot of them. And they haven't changed how they handle security since then. So I don't think they have the Gazans coming over, the Palestinians coming over anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna definitely add that as a follow-up. They used to have them coming, which is odd because they said, well, we don't think it was them, but they don't have them coming over before. But they talked about how they used to come all the time, but they also used to go there. So that's the other thing people are talking about. People talk about the limit on one side, but they don't talk about the other side. I'm a fair and balanced. Give me both sides of information. So yes, it's pretty bad in Gaza. And for some, it's bad in the West Bank, right? But the West Bank is different because the occupation and the way they control it, which is different. But the bottom line is there was a period, post the 6-Day War, through the early 90s, where they went both ways. Maybe a Gazan would come over and work. They were like, hey, let's go out to dinner. They go over to Gaza. And like, I know this restaurant. Let's go. They go to Gaza and they go to dinner. They come back. They hang out. Everything was cool. The more the attacks, the more little barriers would come up. Close the street, close that. And so it wasn't like a law or something. It just got to the point everybody knew it was not safe. And they just stopped going. So the Gazans continued to come this way. Israelis stopped going the other way. Right. And so now after October 7th, all those people, that was what it was most interesting to hear them say. Now, while we with our American mindset thought differently of the guns and some of the other things, they did say, we used to give them aid, we used to do this, we need to help them, we need to give them jobs. But now the mindset is pretty much still help them. It's not like I don't care about people, but help them over there. Not only can they not come over here and work anymore, anything, education, work. If you want to give them jobs over there, build them a hospital over there, build them housing over there, build them everything over there so they don't have to come over here and keep them separate. And that's kind of where they are now.
Yeah. And I can't blame them. Yitzhak wants to know, who is the piece of crap whiner and name names? Watching Your Back says, is Mary's real name Karen? No, I just think people should be respectful. Wow. That's mean.
Whining about what? No, what does he mean? Did we say
I
somebody was
guess we were
whining?
talking
Other
about
than
somebody who
Mary,
was whining.
other than
No,
Mary,
we're
I don't
talking.
think anybody.
You crack yourself up. You are so funny.
I do.
Yitzhak, what did you feel when you were on the border with Gaza?
I think at the border itself, it was different. It wasn't. It didn't feel. That day didn't feel like, wow, this is got like Syria. The Syrian border felt more like that to me than the Gaza itself, right? Because we pulled up on the bus, we just went to fence. It's a separation. All you see is a field. It's not like you see everything over there. It's close. It's
You could see Gaza City, but
right. It's close, but it's not like it's like looking at the skyline of a city from way on the other side. It's like so just in the distance. But the day we went to the site of the festival, right, and we're listening to a survivor tell their story, and that was the day after the government had started their offensive in Gaza, and we hear boom as she's speaking. Then you realize how close you are.
When bombs are being dropped a half mile from you, it's really loud.
It sounds like they're being dropped on you. Yeah.
We're like, everybody was like this, and they gave us this speech before we got off the bus. And they're like, just watch our faces. You're going to hear the sounds of war. So, you'll hear bombing, the bombs being dropped. You won't hear gunfire. If you hear gunfire, that may be a different situation. And I'm like, and they said, look, if we're relaxed, you be relaxed. If we tell you to move, you move. And that was that. And I'm like, okay, hope everybody listened. Right. Okay, Oreo asked the question, Charles, are you in favor of Israel taking control over all of Gaza? How do you feel about that?
I hate to tell you this, but the one thing I left, I was kind of, pretty convinced of that. I left there pretty much 100% sure that there is no solution, right? If I'm sure Mary remembers this because it was sticking in anybody's mind that they saw it. We're at the Knesset, and their speaker holds up a map they found when they went into Gaza to try to, catch Hamas. And they went into some school and they pulled out this map. It was in a kindergarten class. And it's the map of the whole region, right? And there's no Israel on it. It all just says Palestine. So I'm just a sensible, logical person. And I like to solve problems. I call myself a problem solver. But this is complex because Israelis, I think October 7th is like 9/11 to them. It changed them. I was talking to, I've still been reaching out to them, Mary, and having conversations with some of the people we met there that live there. And I'm like, I think, and we're going back and forth. They say, I don't know. I said, look, I think October 7th changed your country. If you notice, they were a little bit nicer than the way I'm going to put it. But the officials we talked to basically responded with, I really don't care what people say or care what people think. This is what I'm doing. They have moved on from the thing of trying to manage public relations, right? As far as that. And because in the past, they would cede a little bit. To keep in mind, they forced the Israelis to leave Gaza. They would give a line. I talked to someone who lives in the West Bank. I said, we weren't even talking politics. I just said, how long does it take you to get home? He said, it's interesting you say that. I'm 10 minutes away, but it takes 40 minutes because there's a road that I can't take because I'm a Jew and I don't live in that area, that kind of thing, right? So I think they're away from, they think that we get attacked from all these 7 enemies around us. It's got to stop, and we're going in until we can stop it. So that's on the one side. The other side is, even if they talk about this 2-state solution and this peace talks, the Palestinians, the reason they turned down the offer they got before wasn't that the land was too small. It's like, oh, you think we want a state? No. We want them to not have a state, right? So they want all of the land. So how do you negotiate? Okay, I want all the land. All right, I give you 10% all, 30% all, 40% all, 90% all. So there is no negotiation. So that said, I'm not necessarily in favor of them going into Gaza, but I don't see another way, right? It's like they built all these tunnels. Okay, unless they can find a way to collapse and capture all of the tunnels. And if Mary, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they said that there's like 200 to 300 miles of tunnels zigzagging throughout there.
And so they do spend all their money on that.
And they found how much? 10%? They got control of it. So until they get control of all of that, and up until that, and the people of Gaza say, we don't want Hamas or a Hamas similar type of government, it doesn't matter if it could be a different name, the same thing, in charge, then there's really no other way. You have to control the attacks that are coming to you as best you can with this neighbor who's not going. You can't annihilate them. The government, the international community won't allow it, and they keep trying to attack you. So I don't know what else you do. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting, we did, after you guys left, we went on a tour, and one of the places we went was the West Bank. And we drove through those areas because our guide, if Israelis are not allowed in sector A.
A, right? Yeah. And B, that suggested that they don't go to B.
Right. Well, we were in A, B, and C. And
okay.
Well, our guide has a special pass because A is where Jericho is, and there are some other sites there. So we went there.
Hello, which is interesting that they control that.
Well, here's the thing. The Palestinian Authority runs the government, but the IDF still has control of it.
Okay.
That's B.
Is that B or A?
A is totally Palestinian, I believe.
So, but doesn't the Israeli government, the IDF still have the ability to go into A?
Off-camera host.
Officially not, but they.
Okay, well, he's telling me about whatever.
That's your ombudsman?
Yeah, they can't have a standing army in A, whatever. But we were in all three. Right. But my point is our guide made a really good point. He said on October 7th, here's the difference, and he seems to think that things are changing there.
Because
he was at dinner with them.
People
in A didn't attack.
Yep.
And they could have because they're Palestinians.
Yep.
But it's the Palestinian Authority which has rejected Hamas.
Right.
And that's becoming the differentiation in the Middle East is Hamas. You've got what is it, Lebanon, who said they can't launch the attacks anymore from their country. You've got the Saudis who are and listen, Herzog, the president of Israel agreed with me when I asked that question. I would just like that noted, that he does think that the winds are changing and there seems to be resistance building to Hamas in general because it's preventing peace in the area, it's preventing, trade, it's preventing all these things. Whereas the Palestinians in the West Bank, they have trade with Israel. They can leave it. They can work it. Like they have more of a life, and they did not attack on October 7th. And I think that shows you a lot of what's happening. But I agree with you. We looked at the notes that were in the pockets in this museum, the 629 museum, which isn't officially open yet, but they were open for us. And they found these notes inside these pockets of these terrorists. And it was like, rip their hearts out, eat their livers. Like, it was just like, it's disgusting. And they put them on the wall. Like, you cannot, it was the end of the day and I was hungry. I was hangry, and we all were. And, they put us down in front of that video thing, and Dan Schneider was just like, "Oh, I want to ask it a question." I turned around and I was, "Were you with me when I turned?"
She's naming names. Shut up, Dan. You do not get to ask questions. Any questions? Mary says there won't be any questions. Mom says no questions.
I told him, I'm like, you're that kid on a Friday afternoon when the teacher says they're letting you out early and you raise your hand and go, "Is there any homework?" I was just like, "Stop it. No questions."
You forgot to give us the homework.
Yeah, exactly. Sal, did you conduct any interviews? Did you talk to any IDF soldiers? Not really.
Well, we had soldiers,
with us.
We had access to if we wanted to.
Right.
That were with us to a couple of the days. What was the other one? Did we talk to soldiers or did we? So what I did was, I knew we would crunch for time. Mary's talking about how much we were running around. So I actually, Mary would know I didn't ask a lot of questions. I sat back on that. Mom was like, "You two are asking too many questions. Other people don't." It's 40 people. We got 45, 50 minutes. What I did was take down contacts and contacted people. So I've been interviewing people post. So I talked to a couple of the people.
Because you're smart. You're not subjecting the rest of us.
Yeah, then I can have a 30-minute conversation. They can tell me what they really think. So that's what I've done. But there, we didn't have much time.
Yeah, Yitzhak, the long street, the pool of Siloam, the Bible comes alive. I guess it was called the long street. Watching Your Back wants to know where the pictures next week. I didn't have time to get them together yet, but hubby's going to join me. We're going to talk about when we went to the West Bank and all the stuff we saw. Be more of like a tour type thing. I wanted to talk about, what we're talking about here.
And shame on us as Christians, aren't you Catholic?
Yes.
We never. When they say where did we go, we never mentioned going to. The Holy Sepulchre.
The Church of the Holy Sepulchre, where the Armenians.
We said it was right there. We didn't say that we went and that we went into the church and we went to the, to where he was crucified and where they laid his body and then the tomb and then, so that was, That happened.
Yitzhak asked if we went into the churches. Yes, they did. Did they broadcast the call to prayer over the radio too? I didn't bring a radio with me, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't think so. They just put it over loudspeakers, like from the top of every building they control, and it's really loud. Yeah.
She's complaining.
Yitzhak says they pray the Fatiha, take not Christians or Jews for friends. Well, to that point, the places that are controlled by the Christians and the Jews, anyone can walk into. If the places that the Muslims control, only Muslims can go into. So they really don't play well with others.
Right. Right. I wasn't discounting that. I was just talking. She was talking about how it sounds.
Oh my God, you're going to be
have Charles on a lot more. Charles is amazing. I mean, unfortunately,
I didn't even read that one for the people who are listening. You would have made Shahid if you died in jihad as an innocent. They would give out candy. Well, I probably think I would be closer to going to heaven that way, but that's why I knew I was fine. Yitzhak says the top tier of Mount Olives is just a Jew thing, better and higher than the next guy. Yeah, except for the poor guy who slid down. And I'll have that picture next week.
And you didn't even help him. You should have, got the old pulley system and pulled him back to the top.
It just came right down, and it's right there, and I was not getting into doing that. You've got to get one of the scapulars that if you are wearing it when you die, you automatically go to heaven. Yeah, my aunt gave me one of those, but it was so hot. It was what?
105 2 days in a row. Yep.
Yeah, but the heat index was higher than that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's why I did not go to Syria, the Syrian border, because the the helicopters were not air conditioned, and I was having none of it. So,
and it may sound naive, but some people do know. So, if any of your white audience members want to know, they do blacks wear suntan lotion and all that kind of stuff. I got sunburn.
Did you?
Even with slathering on. I was 3 weeks in the sun though. Remember, I went from Fire Island to Jamaica to there, and it was 95 degrees minimum every day.
Did you get burned when you went to Syria? Is that when you got sunburned?
You're hoping that's what? No, I don't know when. It's not like they told me the exact moment.
Well, when I get sunburned, believe me, I know exactly when it happened because I come back to my room and my skin's peeling off. So
when the skin starts to peel, I didn't notice the skin peel until I got home. So I don't know which day it was.
Yeah, no. Let's see. Sorry, Greg, it doesn't work that way. There you go, because you wanted to take Sue's previous compliment for you.
But who are you talking to first? It was me, right? Well, you can say Mary to make her feel better.
No, it was you. It was you. Yitzhak, Mary is our queen. There you go.
It literally says the queen.
Sue says, I think Charles wants to be the queen.
I identify as the queen. So how about that?
Oh, look who's
Thank you. Oh, look who's there.
Shlomo's with us. Oh my gosh, Shlomo.
I knew it was a chamber somebody. There we go.
Jewish Chamber of Commerce. That's it.
I said I mangled it, but I said some of those words.
He was on the trip with us. He was the last member of the trip to come home. He came home like yesterday, right?
Yeah. Look, yes.
Shlomo, it's good to see you. I bet it was fun to hang out with Charles. It really was. He's hilarious.
Nothing like this.
Suze, I want Charles at a party I'm at, and Mary too. But noticeably, she mentioned you first.
Well, this was party not looking good, so that's different.
Well, he's a little needy, so I'm glad you said that.
Have food. I mean, you got to have food if you want me to come.
Yeah, you got to have food or he's not coming. Gregory says, so basically it was paid for by the USA. You're welcome.
I love that. So basically we pay for it.
Yeah. Mary's water bottle looks like a wine bottle. It's an LL Bean water bottle. I don't drink wine. I'm allergic. I didn't drink
what mine says. Where am I?
I can't see it.
It says,
give them their argument. There you go.
That's how I debate the loons.
Aish
Let them realize they're crazy.
Shlomo says Aish HaTorah was on location. What is that?
Was what location?
I've heard that.
Was location.
I've heard that. I don't know what that is.
I
am so excited that Shlomo's with us. This is awesome.
You should pop him in a box.
He's not that far from me. So I can go visit him when I want to.
Jersey? Is that where he is?
Yeah. So, okay. This is interesting. Yitzhak talks about the Israeli fried foods. I have to tell you, they do really well with the fried foods. They get it crunchy on the outside, and then the inside's really great. I don't know how they do it, but their food is like they get a good crust on it. I don't know how they do it. It's fantastic.
But look, what did he say? The schnitzel, they do not play.
Yeah, I didn't have any.
Yeah.
And here we go.
Okay.
Any bagel shops and pastries or bakeries like in New York City? Actual fruit is served for breakfast. Yes. Does Israel produce their own coffee beans and tea? I don't know, since we got Taster's Choice packets
Yeah, and it
everywhere
was
we
like
went.
instant coffee, but they have a lot of fruit.
Instant.
And for a desert, boy, do they have fruit and farm and avocados and mangoes and everything.
You know what I always thought was interesting? We passed a lot of banana trees and banana farms, but I never got a banana. They never serve bananas.
Maybe they ship them out.
Maybe.
That's
And by
export.
the way,
That's the biggest export.
bananas.
As a guy, can I throw this out there? The people were hot. I don't know what they're eating. I mean,
the women
they were
are hot.
Beautiful.
Israeli women are hot. I got to tell
insane.
you. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Bagel
Everywhere.
shops. Bagel shops. I think there were bagels one day at breakfast and not a hit. No, it was amazing that Israeli Jews cannot make bagels.
But also,
they're
talking about any shops and pastries or bakeries. We didn't have time to stop at a bakery. You and your husband did, but they would throw a bagel through the window of the bus. We were going so fast. There was no stopping. Really?
Look, again.
Oh, wait, can we stop to get a shut up? We're a schedule.
Monday, we spent 4 hours in the old city. We went there first, and the other group went to the city of David first, or whatever. And it was just hot. It was just hot, 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 hot. The heat index is like 109, and they're schlepping us through the streets. And we were on the bus, and they're like, "That's the Church of Gethsemane." And I'm like, all my pictures have like part of the bus in it. Like all my pictures are like from the bus window as we went by. That's what we did.
And then what happened when you got to the hotel? They told you what? You got what?
Oh, you have half an hour to get ready, to get dressed, to be ready to go to the presidential palace.
And then what happened with the power?
Oh, yes. The power went off 3 times because it was so hot. They had rolling blackout.
I was in the shower. Nothing. And I hear some people lost water. At least I didn't lose water.
I was smart because I knew as a woman I had no time to take a shower, even though I was drenched. I brought baby wipes.
Yeah.
Why? I don't care. I think it was brilliant. You were stuck in a shower with no water. So what good did you do? I wound up being cleaner than you. I had a whole stack of baby wipes, that whole container like that big.
I finished, but I didn't run out of water. I just took a shower in the dark. It's just as wet.
Oh, okay. So you had water. Okay.
That was somebody else that didn't have water. I had water.
Yeah, but see, you're lucky. But the person who didn't have water, I wound up being cleaner than them. As some Jewish places in Gaza were there before World War I. Yeah, that's right. And
that's funny. I came back and somebody said, "How was your trip?" And they said, "That's not their land, Israel's land." I'm like, "Okay, I'll, give them their argument." I said, "Fine. Whose is it?" And he said, "The Palestinians." Wait, help me out. Are you doing the American indigenous people thing? Because then that wouldn't work. Are you doing who won the war? Because that would. I can buy the argument of people saying it's not their land. I mean, you're gonna say it's the Canaanites, maybe, but
yeah, that goes way back though.
Right, but outside of that, who is it? If it's not theirs, who is it? The Greeks, the Egyptians? Who are you picking? I don't know. The Persians, the Babylonians? Who? How do you just pick somebody in the middle? It's crazy, but And how did that go? Themselves into pretzels.
Yeah, exactly. The border kibbutzim were populated mostly by peaceniks, the lefties. Yeah,
it's a socialist compound. Yep.
It is. They were very nice. They had coffee, instant coffee for us, but they had air conditioning. I have to give it to them.
Why would they not be nice? There's still people. She's like, yes, they were lefty, but they were very nice. They were very nice.
I'm trying to be nice. If I'm not nice, you tell me I'm not nice. So when I'm nice, you make fun of me.
Right. They are lefties, but they were nice. They offered us coffee.
They did. And then we went to that other kibbutz.
I'm sure the USA paid for the coffee. So
yeah, according to Gregory. So thank you. Could you get us like actual real coffee next time, Greg? Don't be so cheap.
Yes.
But then we went to another kibbutz after the Nova Music Festival site.
They had an espresso machine.
Oh, Charles found the espresso. I forgot about that. Charles found the espresso machine. I forgot. That was like a big deal. And they had good food. They had pretty good food. That was tasty. That was good food. Oh, there was a lot of stuff like, I don't know what this is. There was that green sauce everywhere. Remember? I thought it was like a chimichurri.
The green, what was it? The green what? The green sauce?
Yeah, it was. And I thought it was like a chimichurri. Shut up.
Green sauce. I don't know what it was.
I'm getting tired.
Salsa verde? I don't know.
Nobody knew what it was. Nobody could tell us what it was. I'm like, what the hell is this? I don't know, but it's everywhere. What is this? It was at breakfast. It was at every meal. There was this green like chimney. I don't know what it
I
was.
didn't get
It
any
was like
green sauce. I don't know what she's talking about.
I
That was,
tried it. It wasn't that. It wasn't
oh, okay. I don't
Yitzhak
feel
says the
like
settlements attacked were mapped out for months. Of course.
that.
Not to be allowed be armed before October 7th. Now it's more open, but no Second Amendment.
But here's the thing that I push back on that.
Yes.
A lot of the people in the group were arguing about will the laws allow them to do it. My issue is that no one has started demanding it.
Right.
Forget about the laws. Why aren't the people saying, hey, we should arm ourselves? They're like, well, maybe. Except for the second kibbutz we went to, that they were arming themselves and starting their own kind of little mini militia. But for the most part, the people aren't asking to own guns. So it's kind of
it's a very individual thing. And it was so funny. It was just so funny because the disconnect in everyone's brains is you have a group of conservative American journalists sitting there. And I wanted to say to them, why don't you just ask how many people in this audience own firearms? Just ask, like, just for chuckles, ask us how many people in this audience own firearms, because every hand in the room would have gone up. And we have not been attacked and had family members murdered and slaughtered and taken hostage and raped and everything else. And they have. You say they're socialists. Do kibbutz inhabitants adhere to Karl Marx? I don't know. They're just into the whole everybody peace, love, and Bobby Sherman thing. Watching your back. Where are the picks? I told you next week, next Tuesday.
I said no picks yet. No.
Let's see. It was a joke. Mary said someone at the border was whining. That's what he's talking about.
Wow. Mary that was mom Mary.
No.
That was daytime Mary. Who knows what she was talking about?
You know, I was talking about, but when we were at the Nova Music Festival, and some people wouldn't shut up when there is a victim whose tears are running down her face as she's recounting how Hamas tried to slaughter her, and she's laying amongst dead bodies. Mm-hmm. And there's people going, and I was just like, it's so obvious. And then every time a bomb went off, this woman went like that, you know. I was just like, be polite. All right, we're winding it up here. Yitzhak says it's a religious war. It always was. They even publicly admitted that in the last few days. They always did, but no one listened or read. It's very true. Yep. I came to the no solution decision years ago.
You were ahead of me. I'm there now.
Sal, I'm no expert, but I think that public relations means very little to Israel anymore. So I think they're frustrated at the way the world is viewing this and the PR that everybody buys Hamas's PR. I think the frustration to me was palpable. We kept hearing it over and over and over again. And I told them several times, you have a problem with American Jews. The Christians are pretty much on your side. It's the American Jews who don't feel a kinship to Israel. But I do think, to your point, Charles, what you said, especially from Netanyahu, is dead on. Netanyahu at this point is just like, that's it. We can't live with these people. They don't want to live in peace. But I just want to bring this up to you just very quickly. I don't know if you saw this. MSNBC reported at 5:38 tonight that Hamas officials said they have accepted a ceasefire proposal that includes a pause in military operations for 60 days and the release of 28 Israeli hostages, 18 of whom are believed to be dead, in exchange for an undisclosed number of Palestinian prisoners. Now, Egypt and Qatar presented the proposal to Hamas leaders on Sunday. Israel has not officially accepted the proposal. I got thoughts. What are your thoughts?
Now you made me nervous when you said another but I'm going to give you what initially popped in my head.
Yeah.
Initially, like right off the bat, I hadn't heard this is, I don't know. I want the living ones first, and then I want to argue about getting the dead ones. I want everybody. I want to lay them to rest. But if you got 36 alive and 30 dead, don't give me like 3 alive and some dead. Give me the living hostages. That's my first thought. Secondly, I don't know why it's 38. How do you get to that number? Right? What are they holding now? 251?
28 Israeli hostages, 18 of whom are believed to be dead.
Total? What's the total number now? 251?
16. So they're giving back 46.
Yeah, out of 251. Nope, that's not a ceasefire. Nope, I keep bombing. That's what my initial thoughts.
Hostages still.
I don't even start talking unless it's half.
Yeah. As July 7th, wait, hold on. Let me go to August 8th. Israel believes about 20 living hostages are still in Gaza, along with the bodies of 30 others, according to August 8th, New York Times.
Really? So they're saying 58. Ooh, really?
So that's pretty much everything. But here's what bothers me about this. When we saw Benjamin Netanyahu when he was speaking to us, what did he say? We don't negotiate with terrorists.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, point of order? Yeah, you do. Because you did.
Right.
And you did not, you keep saying, give us the hostages, but they keep taking piecemeal. And what does that tell Hamas?
That's right.
As long, we'll give you 60 days to regroup and replant yourselves in hospitals and schools and everything else while you still have some of our people. What the hell?
And you're negotiating when you say release the hostages and we'll release X number, 5, 10, 100, 1,000 people that we have in prison. That's a negotiation. The no negotiation is give me my hostages or I keep bombing you.
Right. Exactly. So when he said
you're negotiating, right? And I'm not saying that's what they should do. I'm just saying that is a negotiation. Right. If you say, all right, we'll release these people, you give me these numbers, that's the thing. But really quickly, I know you're going to get out of here soon. I got to say this. One thing I think is important. Yes, they're losing American Jews and the left, but the left is lost. One thing I noticed from the conversations and being there that I think is something, I think, and I mentioned this to you and a lot of other people on the trip, I think that most Americans, not the hard left, not the pro-Israel people, just regular Americans, feel like we don't have a dog in the fight and they're not really paying attention. Right. Like they hear it on the news, they don't, if you ask them their opinion, they're like, I don't know, sounds bad. I guess Israel might be in the wrong. I don't know, it's bad. They don't know. So those are the people that you need to kind of sway and get them to understand, if you're going to do any PR efforts, to get them to understand that, Arabs and Israel have equal rights, that Gaza and West Bank are maybe different, but why it's like that, right? Like that Jordan had control before we had control. So it's not like it was the Palestinian Free State before we won that war. Now, with the treaty with Egypt, when we ended that war and they wanted the Sinai Peninsula back, they could have kept Gaza. They didn't want it, right? All these other guys. So how we pay all the utilities, how we feed, and how we basically manage that situation, even though it's not part of Israel, and those kind of things, and that we're constantly attacked. When we have freedom to go both ways, we get cafe bombs and we get bus bombs and we get attacked. So what would you do if you're in Indiana and Illinois and Ohio was bombing you every week?
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with you. And I also think people need to understand that they're the only democracy in the Middle East, and they actually are our friend and support us and have our back. And they're a very important ally. Yitzhak says the PA and Hamas are two sides of the same coin. Don't be tricked. Yeah, but they did not attack on October 7th, and they could have. So, and I will say, we ate shawarma in an Arab restaurant in that sector, or maybe in the half and half sector.
In area A or B?
I don't know if we were in A or B. I don't remember.
Was your head covered?
No.
Then you were in B. No.
Okay, then we were in B. But then we just drove through A. But C is totally controlled by Israel. That's 100% Israel. Yep. So B is like this one. And everyone, the guys who ran it were totally nice. They were great. They were friendly. And we got, I think you would have liked this. There's these purple vegetables on the table. And I took a picture. I'm like, what the hell is this? Because there's so many things that I'm constantly going, what the hell is this? Mm-hmm. And I didn't know. So our guide found out what it was. And he couldn't find the word, but they basically were pickled turnips. Mm-hmm. But they dyed them purple, I guess, because turnips they were phenomenal. They were so good with the shawarma. And the shawarma had two, and we got falafel in the Arab section in the old city. Mm-hmm. We got falafel there. And so the shawarma had two little falafel balls in the bottom, and then a bunch of tahini or hummus or whatever. And then the shawarma, which was turkey. So it's this huge thing. This thing had to be 3 feet tall. It's just turkey, just packed down, and they shave it. They got a shaver, and they take it down, and they put all these like vegetables, pickled vegetables, and everything in there in a pita. It was amazing. It was to die for. It was so good.
It was great that we end on food, because you do know I do love food.
I know. Let's see. I should bring Mr. Mary on sometime. He's been on twice. Sal, where you been? And he'll be on next Tuesday. Mary is a white woman. She burns. I do.
Well, apparently I burn too.
Yeah. Well, welcome to my world. Every time I go to get my skin checked, they're cutting something out of me. Let's see. Do they roll up the sidewalks on the Sabbath? Oh boy, do they. Were you there on no, you left on Friday.
Yep.
I will tell you, so we walked around, we went out to dinner Friday night. You guys left on Friday.
Did you go to the Christian Quarter?
No, just in Jerusalem.
Oh, okay.
There was not a lot that's open, but there's this place called the Focaccia Bar that was open. And it's in a park, and it was all full families, Jewish families. Everybody's outside walking around. We went by the embassy, made friends with the guys there because I had to talk to them, and walked over to this place, and it was Tim Young, and John Burnett, and Raul, and me and my husband, and we went over there and we ate there, and it's amazing. There's no traffic. You can just walk down the middle of King David Street. Like there's no traffic at all. There's no horns beeping. It's super quiet. It was really, really enjoyable. I have to say, it was very, very nice. So yeah, on the Fridays, yeah, because that's when my shower started to leak, and they didn't do anything about it until Monday. Yeah, that was a bad thing. Yeah.
Well, you gonna let me eat? Are you gonna let me?
Yeah, go eat. Go eat. All right, so we're out of here. Thank you so much, everybody.
You got your last one? You good?
Yeah, and you live in New York. New York City Jews tend to be super liberal. Many seem support Palestine protesters, and maybe Zohan Mandami for mayor. Are you gonna move out if Mandami gets elected?
Yeah, I mean, I want to move out for other reasons, but I'm not worried about him. I mean, he sucks, but I don't know why people freaking out. I'm like, he can't do the nonsense he's talking about. So it is what it is.
Sue says she was negotiating in her opinion about which one of us it was.
Okay. So. I like that.
All right. So Tim Young too. Yes, Tim Young. Tim Young was there as well. Shawarma is
Who is this Tim Young you're speaking of? He's thinking sports. You talking about Tim Jones?
Oh, Tim Jones.
I get all excited, like, wow, you had some all-stars on there. Tim Jones.
Tim Jones. I'm so sorry.
Missouri State House, former.
Oh, here you go. We'll end on this.
Uh-oh.
Sue says, "Woo woo, Charles, you handsome guy, go eat."
I am hungry.
All right. Well, I'll let you go. I'll say goodbye to everybody. Tell them where I'm going to be. You go and you enjoy your dinner. I don't want to keep you. Thank you so much for joining me. I do appreciate your time. And this was everything I thought it was going to be. You were so much fun. We're getting together for dinner in the NYC with John Burnett.
Okay, let's make that happen. And then, feel free to have me back. I would love to come back and set you straight.
Oh, thank you so much. I do appreciate you. Goodbye, my friend. Take care.
Bye.
Talk to you soon. All right. And don't forget, you can follow Charles. He is, let me see where I'm going to get all of his, where he is. It's because it's not Charles Love. His handle on X is C Douglas Love and then the number 3. And you can get his books, Logic, We Want Equality, and Race Crazy, and his podcast is Cut the Bull. He is the co-host of the Cut the Bull podcast. So tomorrow I'm in for Rich Zeoli again on PHT, and then they're taking me off and they're putting Mike Opelka on for 2 days. He was doing mornings, so I don't know why they're switching, but they are. But Friday, I'll be in for Brian Kilmeade from 9 a.m. to noon on Fox News Radio. And then Monday, well, it's Labor Day. So I don't think I'm on with Chris Salcedo because it's Labor Day. They'll probably ask, but I don't know. Depends on if I'm doing something. And then we'll be back on Tuesday and I'll have pictures, I promise. Thank you so much. All of the newbies, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate each and every one of you. God bless and have a fantabulous week. Bye.